of the communication tower site leases, several leases, that JEA currently has with Pinnacle Tower Acquisition LLC. The renewal is in the amount of $791,062.11. This renewal is for a 5-year renewal with a the renewal is for 5 years, and then I think there's another 5-year renewal that goes with it. So we're doing a 5-year plus another 5-year. If I'm reading that right. And so basically,
Heather, this is Julie Davis. I don't think that there are multiple leases. I believe that just 2 of them are, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, I believe 2 of them are being renewed. You're authorizing the renewal of 2 of them for 5 years, but I think there are 4 leases. So you're not authorizing renewal for 2 5-year terms, but just for 1.
Correct.
Okay, just 1 5 year. Okay. Okay, so 5 years for the 2 of the renewals. And then, and so just a little background, this agreement was initiated in 1999 for the First Coast radio system and the JEA network meter reading systems. There's been some acquisitions of this, but the contract is still going to stay with Pinnacle, or the lease is going to stay with Pinnacle. And then also City of Jacksonville reimburses JEA for a portion for the First Coast radio system as well. Any question? Now, I have just a clarification, because it says right here, JEA will return to Awards Committee 120 days prior to the auto renewal of the Lloyd Road and Jack's Beach in 2024. So it looks like we're approving a 5-year renewal plus an another 5-year with that. Is that correct, Nathan or Julie? I know you looked at it. Or Nick?
No, Heather, I think what that says is that. Yeah, go ahead.
Go
ahead, Nathan.
Thanks, Julie. I'll jump in. Yeah, if you want to look at the first table, if you scroll down to that, Cecil or Lynn, whoever's running it. So there's 4 different site leases that are included in this this agreement. There's actually 4 separate agreements. So they 2 of them started in '99 and 2 of them started in 2003. So the 5-year automatic renewals that happen are slightly different in what time and what dates they renew. You'll see 2 of them actually auto renewal in 2022, and then 2 of them in 2024. So this award is to approve 5 years of funds to get us through the next 5 years, which includes the auto renewal of those first 2 sites, Dunn Avenue and North US 1 Browning. So that is included in this award, that we're authorizing that renewal in 2022. But it also states in the award that the plan is to come back to awards for another renewal approval 120 days prior to the second 2 auto renewing. So Lloyd Road and Jack's Beach, we would come back to awards with another renewal request before that auto renewal happens.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And, I do have a question. Each of the 2 renewals for the 2022 is for 5 years, right?
Are you approving 10 years or 5 years? I guess it's confusion, Nathan.
5 years.
2 5s.
5 years.
Yeah, we would, after this 5 years, we would come back to awards again to get approval on the next 5 years.
Got it.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions on this one? So can I get a motion?
Wayne Young, motion to approve.
Steve Tooten, second.
Thank you. Okay, I'll take a roll call. Steve Tooten.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Wayne Young.
Approved.
Joe Arpano.
Approved.
Thank you. Okay. Award number 4. This is a change order to an existing contract that JEA has with H. Stephen Jones and Associates. The contract's for owners, representative services for technology, security, and facility systems for the JEA new headquarters. The increase in the contract is $148,500. And this contract is JEA retained H. Stephen Jones to provide design, coordination, project manager, owners, representative, and construction administration services for the new headquarters. The services include openings, door frames, door hardware, telecommunications, electronic safety, building automation, and so on and so forth. It's all listed there in the awards. And this request for the change order is for, after additional review by the JEA's facility team, so basically the vendor is responsible for the low voltage package, which is a large part of the building automation systems. And it's in JEA's best interest to add this portion of the work to this contract, as breaking out this work would significantly impact the tenant improvement and slow project down due to the project familiarity and time spent on reviewing current designs. The change order is to add the building automation system design to the contract scope to provide continuity and integration of systems for the headquarters through project completion. Any questions on that?
This is Stephen Datz. On page 165, the second paragraph references award from April. Just a suggestion to replace April with 4/16/2020, just for clarity.
Consistency, okay. Lynn, did you catch that?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Joe Arfano. It's a little
Okay.
unclear to me, Heather, on the change order, the initial change order, there's a negative. Was the amount reduced by 36,000? It's
Yeah.
unusual.
Which amount?
Hi, this is
660.
Chrissy through the chair. Is Nancy, are you on, or would you like me to speak to this?
I wanna see the names. Go ahead,
I don't ever recall a change order being negative. I haven't been doing this for that long, but it's kind of unusual.
It was a reduction.
Okay,
The reduction of scope, I assume.
That's right.
okay.
It was a reduction, and Paul McElroy at the time, who signed the award later in July, did also acknowledge he had rarely seen a decrease, but we went back and tightened up the scope and clarified. So we just issued the actual contract for that lesser amount.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay. If no other questions, can I get a motion?
Joe Arfano, so moved.
Thank you. Joe, you want to do a second?
Second. Joe Arfano, second.
Thank you. All right, roll call. Steve Tootin,
Approved?
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Wayne Young,
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Thank you. Okay, award number 5, this is a contract increase to 3 different contracts for underground water, wastewater, and reuse grid repair and installation services. 3 currently have existing contracts with Petticoat, JB Coxwell, and Callaway. They each are being increased by $1.5 million. This is, let's see, this originally was a 5-year, was it 5-year? 3-year contract. I think a 1-year contract, I'm sorry, with 3 1-year renewals. I believe we've already renewed it. But the contract goes to 2021. Right here. So in December 2020, JEA exercised the option to renew the 3 contracts for 1 year. Due to the holidays, we were unable to increase the dollar amount since it needed to go back to committee's approval. So these increases are to cover the work to be performed during the 1-year renewal. This contract increase request is to increase the value of the 3 contracts to cover work during fiscal year 21. And the work includes regular water, wastewater line work, as well as galvanized pipe replacement. The award amount is the budgeted amount for construction services for projected project usage. Any questions on this one?
So presumably just the same amount of workload across the 3 groups, that's why it's kind of divided evenly?
I believe so. I believe they. Joe, how do you distribute the work among these contractors?
Hey, good morning. This is Joe. Yes, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, yes. The intent is for everybody to get, essentially, as you see there, an equal share of work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. No other questions? Can I get a motion?
Steve Tootin, motion to approve?
Thank you.
Stephen Datz, second.
Thank you. Okay, roll call. Steve Tootin,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Wayne Young,
Approved.
Joe Urbano.
Approved.
Okay, all right, award number 6, last award. Okay, this is an award of a contract to TB Landmark Construction, Inc. in the amount of $100,000 for subsurface evaluation for downtown to extend the chilled water system to new JEA office and Ed Ball building. So the scope of work for this project is for construction services to provide chilled water to the new JEA headquarters building and the City of Jacksonville Ed Ball building from the JEA's downtown chilled water plant. However, the $100,000 amount of this award is only for subsurface evaluation, not the full construction bid. Okay, so this project requires 900 linear feet of insulated pipe to the new JEA headquarters building and approximately 500 linear feet of insulated pipe to the Ed Ball. Let's see, so whose board is this? Joe, do you want to elaborate on this one a little bit, please?
Sure. So the intent on this one is to allow for exploration work, essentially excavation, to determine some of the connection points. At the moment, we are not sure exactly where and exactly how deep some of these connection points are. So the business is asking us to only award, for the time being, a portion of the total bid to enable this type of work. This work had line items in the bid workbook, essentially allowances. So what we're asking the committee is to only approve that amount, and then based on that exploration, the business will decide whether to move forward or consider other alternatives. And I don't know if the business wants to add additionally to what I just said.
Thank you. So is this a change order? This is adding $100,000 to an existing contract, right?
No, this will be a new bid. No, so it's not a change order. This was bid out, and the bid came in, the amount listed there. We had low participation due to the complexity of the project because this involves digging in the downtown area. And this is going to essentially force the contractor to work at night to avoid any, conflicts.
We're going to come back with the real.
So the request is, for us to fund this portion initially, and then, based on what's found, later, if needed, we would come back for the remainder of it.
So,
Okay.
through the chair, Heather,
Yes.
a couple things. One, if the people in the bid room would please speak one at a time and clearly enough that the people on the, on the WebEx can hear them. There's some comments going on, and really, under sunshine laws, the public needs to be able to hear what's being said by members of the committee. So just caution you about that.
Okay, thank
My
you.
understanding on this particular, that this, this was done as a low bid, solicitation. So what the committee is approving, as I understand it here, is award of the contract to the low bidder. So JEA will enter into a contract for the full contract amount. But my understanding, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the only funds that you're approving to go onto this contract at this time is the $100,000 to do this preliminary work. That helps.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies it.
And Julie, this is Alan, that was my comment to Stephen Datz, was that this is just it's a proven contract, but also just that $100,000 is what we're shooting for right now. So that was the comment I made.
So this will come back to awards for the full amount, for the additional amount, once the scope is determined.
Heather, this is Sean Connor. Can I make some clarification to that?
Please go ahead.
So one of the reasons we're doing that this way is, as Joe mentioned, there was low participation. The price came in higher than what we had budgeted for, and currently, because DES has its own, own budget, in order to do this project fully, we're going to have to go back and make a request from City Council to increase our budget. So in the meantime, we've been asked to look at other ways to accomplish this work. It may be that we don't do this project work at all, or we may revise the scope and do it another way. Maybe we put in air conditioning traditionally at the JEA headquarters. All of those items are being looked at now, but we have been requested by the VP and the CEO to go ahead and do a small portion of this work, because that will determine some of the unknowns. These points that we're going to dig down to, we cannot. The engineer, when they did the design, could not feasibly get to those locations. So being able to get that information will also allow us to work with the contractor to potentially renegotiate the price of this work and potentially bring it down if we can essentially accomplish this by some other means. So really, this $100,000 is to do a little bit of exploratory work to give us some more information that potentially will either bring down the price of this job that we would then award full amount later, or we would, turn around and do something a little bit differently. So that's what this request really is for. It was bid out, but we don't feel comfortable awarding the entire amount until we have some more information.
Okay, understood. Thank you for that clarification.
This is Joe Orfano, Heather. Can that be noted on this form that we're not approving the full amount? Because I was aware of the budget appropriation issue with council, and also to Sean's point, there could be other alternatives that may even include putting chillers in the new headquarters building to serve the new headquarters and Ed Ball. So I just want it to be clear. I don't want there to be any confusion about the fact that the full amount has not been appropriated.
Right. Understood. Yeah.
We
will clear.
Joe, we posed the question, why can't this 100,000 be split out into its own award and not even be mentioned with the actual project? But procurement didn't respond to that question, so I'm not sure why.
It's a good question.
This is Stephen Datz. I also had a question, and this is aside from the chiller option, could we use the findings of the subsurface evaluation to solicit other competitive bids once that information becomes known?
This is Sean Connor again. Potentially we could. The problem I think we had is with the original solicitation was, this was the only bidder we received, and the reasons for the no bids were due to the high risk for this job. The other contractors weren't interested in bidding on it just because of the risk of putting this size line in the downtown corridor. So that's something we can definitely explore if we find something, another method of being able to do this.
I'd like to keep that option open just based on the findings.
Okay.
So to be clear, as a legal matter, you did a low bid contract. You can't change the specification. You can award the contract, and but at some point, to the extent that you make material changes to the specifications in the contract, that competitive bid, you can't use that competitive bid because so we'd have to be careful about how you would go about doing this. There is, you're awarding the contract. I mean, one way to do it would be to rescind the bids and use another procurement tool to award the $100,000 if there was one available. But you're awarding that under this contract. So you'd have to terminate this contract under the termination for convenience provision. And then rebid or find some other procurement tool to procure if you decided to pursue a different method of accomplishing the work that you want to do.
Yeah, so it may result in a new bid.
This is Wayne. I am uncertain, and it was a good question to ask, I guess, what really equates to proprietary information being involved with the study upon completion of the study that may or may not be shared with others who might bid for it. But it's clear to me that we are seeking an exploratory study to determine the extent to which the work has to be done. And I could see, would think that it may be better to bid it out separately, or we can go with this. It's clear that this is just that one aspect of it, but there may be others who might be willing or desirous of doing an exploratory study as well and making the information available so that we can bid, once again, based on specs that would include the findings of that study, and then bid out on that. So I just have concerns that we're using the same company that was the low bid to do the study here, and then the question as to whether or not that information will be made available for to include in the new bid to go out to others.
I think we're paying for the study, and the data is what it is, and we would include that if we were to rebid in as information for the bidders to review. I don't think there would be any proprietary information in the study. It's really just data where things are, it's really subsurface exploration.
Heather, this is Sean Connor again. This portion of work that we're asking the contractor to do is part of the scope of work that would be included if we were to do the full project. The study that I alluded to earlier about should we do something else instead, that's a whole separate issue. We're going to actually do a whole different procurement or some other method to get a designer on board or an engineer to do a study that's going to be completely separate from this award. So really the results from this excavation, this $100,000 of excavation, is going to allow PV Landmark to look at their means and methods to do the construction under this actual scope of work that we bid out. That is going, they may be able to at that point, have a better understanding of the risk, allowing us to move forward with this project while we kind of are on hold waiting for this other study to be done. The fear has been that if we do the study and it comes back that, yeah, we need to continue with this project, then we've been several months where we've been idle. That, right now this project is critical to get the new building online. So we don't want to hold it up. And this is something we can do kind of in parallel. So that's why we wanted to go ahead and release this portion of the work. We decided that it was a small amount of money. The risk was low for them to continue with that in case, we decided not to do this and to do something else.
Sean, this is Steven. Just one follow-up question. Would you expect that they would not come back with a number higher than the $5.5 million once they complete this excavation study?
I expect that once they complete the excavation study, their price would not go up. It might decrease, but I'm not sure that it would decrease either. It really depends on what they find. But no, they would not. We talked to the contractor. They're comfortable doing this work at this price, but they told us that there could be some potential savings if they were to be able to change their method of construction.
Okay, that clarifies my question.
Any other questions or concerns?
This is Wayne once again. Could the findings of their study change the specifications of the contract?
No, sir, I don't believe so. The specifications of what we need, the pipe going in the ground, nothing is going to change as far as, the project requirements. It really comes down to the means and methods of the contractor, whether or not they're going to have to essentially open, cut, and dodge other existing utilities, or if they can perform a drilling operation where they can get underneath it. The risk is what changes here, and that's really what's going to cause their price to change.
Thanks.
Joe Orfano, one additional question for me. I just want to be clear that, or just get a clarification that we can exercise the termination for convenience if we elect to go in another direction, another alternative to excavation. I want to be clear what we're committing to here.
Yeah, so I intend to write a contract for $100,000, not for the full amount. And then even for that $100,000 contract, we can also terminate that for convenience if we get, if we decide we don't want to continue it. So that's a part of our solicitation. It's already included in there. So we do have that right to terminate for convenience.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just to clarify one thing. So the contract would be, a contract awarded under the solicitation. So for the job. But all JEA contracts are required to have a maximum indebtedness provision in them. And the they're subject to that maximum indebtedness. The maximum indebtedness under the contract at this time would be $100,000. And so my understanding is that there was verified that there is a termination for convenience provision in the solicitation document that was bid out. So this would have to come back to the awards committee, and the awards committee would have to approve that termination for convenience. So that's my understanding.
Yes, and we do have that right, Joe.
Thank you, because again, the higher amount has not been approved by council.
Right. So the contract will just be for $100,000.
Okay.
That's it. And then anything else, I guess, would come back to the awards. So, all right. So we're making an award to $100,000 to TP Landmark just for this portion of the work. Any other questions or concerns?
Joe Orfano, so moved.
Thank you.
Wayne Young, second.
All right. Roll call. Steve Tootin.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Wayne Young.
Approved.
Joe Orfano.
Approved.
Okay. Notes here. Okay. So we have reviewed award items 1 through 6, and each have been reviewed individually and voted on. The entire agenda is approved. The entire agenda is approved for January 14th, 2020. Any other business to come? 2021, excuse me. Any other business to come before the awards committee? Seeing none, we're adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, guys.